Hi Anupama.
I
First things first, I'm really glad that you have come, you have accepted the invitation, and I think our podcast was long due. We were in
Yes.
conversation for like last 3 4 months, and finally you're here, and I'm really sorry for the delay. But having said that, Anupama, you're a very busy woman, right? I mean, if you ask me the kind of work that you do, the kind of places that you go, the events that you conduct, the kind of impact that you make, I feel like you're a very, very, very busy woman. And apart from that, I also feel like, how do you do it? The very first question when I saw your work, when I saw everything that you do, everything that
Yes.
you have been doing for the past 10 years now, more than 10 years now, right? And the first question that came into my mind was how? How is she able to do this? How is she able to do it so consistently, so beautifully, so impactful? So I want to understand that. So basically, this podcast for me is a masterclass from you, and I'm being very
Oh,
selfish.
wow.
I would take lots of knowledge from you today, and I'll go back home and I'll tell my mom that yes, these are the things that I've learned today. So how do you do this? How do you keep on doing this, Anupama?
Yeah, firstly, thank you so much for the kind words, and it's a pleasure to be here talking to you about my journey. Well, this is one question I get asked by everybody. I
Right.
meet old friends, from school, college, or anybody that how are you doing so many things? And honestly, my simplest answer for that is just by doing it. Because I feel if you really, really want to do something and you're driven about it, you will do it. Otherwise, okay, there are some excuses, okay, there's no time, there's no energy, but eventually the reason I'm able to do all these things is because they mean a lot to me. And I think
Right.
eventually we all prioritize what means a lot to us. So
Right.
I guess that self motivation that I have, I'm blessed with it. I would say that I usually don't need external motivating factors. That just keeps me going. And also, I am somebody who loves exploring different facets in me. And I think everybody should be like that because I feel we all have lots within us that we may not even know that, okay, this is something I'm good at, or maybe this is something I will enjoy. I always have an open mind about it, and that's why a lot of things in my journey actually have been a very natural progression, and I've been quite open to it. Even if it might have seemed I don't think this is something I can do. I don't shy away from trying. So I think that also is another thing that keeps me going because I'm somebody who doesn't think much about, whether this is going to succeed, not succeed. If I feel I want to do it, I'll give it my all. And then the outcome, of course, is not in my hands and I just, go accordingly. So I think the attitude matters the most over anything
Right,
else.
right. So this is an answer that I've got from you personally. But as an entrepreneur, when you are building a team and
Right.
you're working with multiple teams, and I'm sure the success of any business, it comes down to what kind of team you have,
Of course,
what kind of
of course.
coordination you do,
Yes,
and
yes.
what kind of time management you play into.
Right.
So I want to understand, as an entrepreneur, how a business can get successful, and from your point of view, because you're yourself a serial entrepreneur as of
Yes.
now, so I want to understand that aspect of yours as an entrepreneur. From the perspective of an entrepreneur, what are those key things that has done well for you, that has actually made you this successful today? I want to
Yes.
understand that part. And apart from that, I also want to understand what according to you are the main things that an entrepreneur should look up to as of now in order to start their company, in order to start their work.
Right.
What are those
Right.
things that they have to make sure that it's there on a very concrete level so that they can build upon it?
Yes. The first and most important thing I feel, and I'm talking about probably something very basic, I think an entrepreneur should have a lot of patience. So, as a part of my work, I also mentor many people, like, a lot of entrepreneurs. One thing what I'm seeing these days is the hurry to prove yourself,
Right,
that
right.
I've started something and now suddenly I want things to work very fast. Businesses don't get built like that. You really have to make them, work with a lot of patience. Ideas, there'll be to and fro, and you need to be ready for it. I'll give an example of my own company. So I run a company called Beyond the Box, which is on the cusp of literature and education in India, and we've been doing a lot of pioneering work, if I may say so myself. And when I was mentoring kids initially, a lot of people told me that you can easily earn money by just creating modules and just get instructors in like every city and you scale like this, you grow like this. I was like, but that's not what Beyond the Box stands for, because the whole differentiating factor for our company was the personal touch that we give to the kids, when we mentor them, when we try to bring out their creativity. Now, at that point, had I succumbed and said that, oh, okay, let me also just go the way probably so many other companies are going, in the education space, I wouldn't have been where I am today, because today Beyond the Box is known for its credibility, and we have taken a slow but steady and consistent path that yes, the work they do is excellent, and today we have a lot of big projects. So that is the thing, that in the early stages, when things are difficult, to stay put and stick to why you started everything in the first place. I think that is something very crucial in every entrepreneur, all the more in today's times, which are very volatile, and it's so like you asked that, what do they really need to have in place? I think the basics have to be in place. You need to have a clear vision of why am I doing this? Am I doing this because probably 10 other people are doing it and it seems like a very, viable option? Or do I really feel I'm solving some kind of a problem? And what are the things I'll need for it? And giving very, I would say, targets that are logical, and also not putting too much pressure on you, but at the same time, yes, think big. I'm also somebody who thinks big, but you also got to be a little practical, and I think that balance of thinking big and yet going about it in a practical way, to me, again, that is a factor which worked in my favor. And you also spoke about the team. So for me, team is extremely important. So I don't run a very big company, of course, but then there are 11 people in the team, and I think whether it's 11 people in a team or whether it's like 1100, eventually, whether they are happy working with you, whether you're doing exciting stuff together, I think that matters. So for me, that's another aspect which I've really focused on, that whoever is working with me, giving them also an agency, so they actually very easily say, correct me when we brainstorm, giving them that respectful right that, yeah, you can also, say that I think this will not work, and I don't take it on my ego, because I know everything is eventually for the betterment of the brand, right? So I think, yes, even that the kind of rapport you build with them, and if you see a lot of successful entrepreneurs today, I think eventually a lot of the success comes from the relationship that you have built with the employee. I was, just thinking of Vinita, the shark. Right. She has often spoke about how when things were not going well at Sugar, her employees were really very supportive. So why were they supportive? Had they not had, that kind of a rapport with her, or, if they were not really happy in the company, they wouldn't have, supported in such a difficult time. So I think, yes, that also matters a lot, that, how open you are with your team, how approachable you are, and also how much you involve them in, the workings of the company. I think, yes, that makes a huge difference.
Right. One thing, since I also run a couple of companies myself, how do you let go of your ego, right? Because I'll tell you, I wouldn't come up, because see, as a founder, when you have that vision and mission, and you know that this is what you want, and most of the times your employees might not get your vision and your mission, right? And even if they get it, they'll have their own version of their mission and vision, right? It's not something that what you visualize is the same thing what they visualize, right? It will be different always. So in that particular aspect of it, when you are at a stage where you know what you're doing and you want certain things to be done in that particular way, but then there are brainstorming sessions, let's say, but then there are inputs that that say otherwise, and you have to be a grounded founder, because I fail at it most of the times, right? Because I know I have this habit of saying no, this is how I want it. I would prefer if you would follow these or my instructions. And it comes not from an egoistic approach, but then of course when you,
because you believe that,
but then on a very forefront of it is ego, right? Because you're not taking any kind of inputs from others, and you would want to stick into that aspect. So I want to understand this aspect. How do you let go of an ego? Please enlighten me, because I definitely would want to. And at the same time, there are also founders who are extremely egoistic. If we talk about Elon Musk, let's say, like, who is touted to be one of the genius, the biggest, the most genius person the earth has ever seen, and of course the richest man alive as of now. He has tons of ego, right? His Twitter, his X account, it just is ego. So I want to understand how to balance that aspect. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Does it motivate you to an extent? Does that give that power for you to wake up and run every day? Or at the same time, of course, it has its own pros and cons. So I want to understand from your end, and also let me know how to.
Definitely. See, I think this is something to each their own. For me, the Elon Musk brand of being a business person doesn't really work. I do believe in being positively aggressive, if I may use that term, though I don't think they can really go together, but I'll explain what I mean.
Right.
I think that is okay, but I'm definitely not in that bracket of ruthless business person, because that's not my brand of entrepreneurship at all, not something I believe in. Having said that, I think if it's working for people, who am I to comment? But I'll explain what I meant. So I'm very ambitious. And funnily, when I started hiring people, so obviously when I started Beyond the Box many years ago, it was first just me. We all start like that, right? A single person, and then we add.
It's a bootstrap company. I've read about it.
All of what I do is completely.
I'll get into that aspect as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now the thing is, when I started hiring people, and so I'm a perfectionist as well. So when you were saying that, I was remembering the times when I was so particular even about the smallest of mistakes made in an email, for example, because Beyond the Box being, a company which is, like I said, into literature and education.
Right.
So for us, the text of anything is really crucial, right? Because it reflects on how you're writing, what kind of typos you're making and all. So I remember I used to be like so particular, and then I would go all like, no, leave it, I'll only do it. And then I realized that I've not hired that person for the fact that you leave it, I'll only do it, it's not working.
Right.
Now, so how I actually slowly learned to, kind of, you can say sort of not have that entrepreneurial ego is, so again, it's not something which will happen automatically. You have to condition your mind to think of. So I look at it as the company and my whatever clients, customers. In my case, I prefer calling it a community because of the kind of company it is. So I think that way. I remove myself from the picture. See, eventually the vision is the company. So maybe some of me is coming into it through ego and all, but that's not really going to help the company. So what I do is, whenever I have these moments where, say, I'm annoyed at something, I just want to assert, say, my power, or like you said, authority.
Right.
I somewhere detach myself from that situation and then just keep it between the company and my community, and then think from that angle, what really works there? Am I being biased because I feel my idea is amazing, or truly, is it amazing? And it is possible that out of ego, I might think somebody's idea is not great, because I feel my idea is great. But it's also possible I'm just biased towards my idea because I feel I know the best for my company. But that may not always be true. So I think the mindset has to shift towards the brand and who is it ultimately going to, right? So when it comes to them, then what I feel, I see it working. I think that's how I slowly started to think that, this is not about me. This is about my brand, and this is about the people who are a part of the brand. So I have to sort of, yes, of course, I'm the name, but eventually it is, about them. And that's how slowly I started realizing that no. And also, one thing again, I started seeing my early days also maybe somewhere in my team that, see, we all start at some point, we make mistakes. And to realize that it's fine, let them make some mistakes as well. Even if they are making mistakes, that's fine. They have to eventually do this. So we'll figure out. So I think, it took some time for me also, as I said. But I think largely, yes, the moment I start thinking about the brand and my community, I think it grounds me. I think that's very grounding. The very fact that, see, it's not you, it's the brand and it's the people who are making the brand. So then, I think that's very grounding.
Right. No, I've been trying to work on it. I really try to work on it. Sometimes, as you mentioned,
I think it's also the age factor because I feel at a certain age, it's just more, maybe there's slight aggression about things. I think I've reached, I'm a mom. Moms, I think a lot of skills you just learn being a mother. So probably even being tactful comes with being a mother, and so many things just comes being a mother.
And I think that's where men lose, because as you mentioned, being a mother teaches you a lot of things, and I truly believe that I've seen my cousins changing drastically after being a mother, I'm like, were you this person? I mean, I never knew that person, right? And you're this person today. You're taking care. You're being concernful about different aspects. You're taking this 10-step ahead kind of decisions and all that. I think motherhood really teaches a lot. I want to understand that aspect. So I want to understand what entrepreneurship has taught versus what motherhood has taught. Right? I want to understand both of this, and then of course, I can't compare both of them, but since they say that my company is my baby, I want to understand what do you learn from that baby and what do you learn from this baby?
Oh yes, I think some of the things what you learn are common, and then there are of course certain things which are different. Finally, my daughter says that I have 3 companies of course, but the main one which takes up most of my time, space, energy, everything is beyond the box. That's where I'm like really actively pursuing things. So she keeps joking that my sibling is beyond the box because the time mom gives there, and to me is like almost as if we are in it together. But having said that, see, one thing what motherhood taught me, interestingly, is to think more about myself. I know it's actually quite opposite to what people think. People think that once you're a mother, you become very sacrificial. But for me, what happened was, see, when my daughter was born, I was very clear that I do not want to feed her the notions and all these stereotypes that we have in our society. And I knew that whatever she gets, like in terms of how things should be, is going to be through me. I'm going to be her first role model, right? So, for example, if I become too sacrificial just for the sake of, being called a super mom or amazing or whatever, she's going to take that message, and I didn't want that, and somewhere I think because of motherhood, actually what happened is I realized that no, I also need to think of self, because when my daughter sees me prioritizing myself, she will learn the same thing. So, and this helped me in entrepreneurship as well, because when as a mom you have that certain confidence and you're giving time for yourself about what drives you, it helps you in your work, because then the guilt is gone. See, I interact with so many mothers who are entrepreneurs, and I think one very common factor which is holding them back is the motherhood guilt, that I'm say spending some 12 hours on my company and I'm neglecting my child. And of course, some of it does come very, out of love, like we are moms and, we want to be there for kids. But a lot of it also comes because of the conditioning, right? The societal conditioning that, oh, no, you're the bad mom if, you're not giving that certain number of hours, to the child. So I think that kind of coexisted beautifully, because I was then focusing on my career with a lot of passion, because I wanted her also to get inspired. Of course, for myself too, but then, I wanted her to, sort of realize that she has dreams and they are very important before anything else. And interestingly, my daughter, whenever she writes, something like a letter to her future self and all those kind of exercises, she writes about her ambition first. So that I think was brilliant. Other than that, one more thing what motherhood taught me is, I think, patience. You just become so much patient, and that is also what entrepreneurship taught me. So that's a common one, that you learn to wait for things, you learn to repeat things, you learn to even tolerate certain aspects which may not be going your way. Because obviously, so even as a mom, there are situations like these, and again, as an entrepreneur, there are situations like these. So patience, definitely. And I feel, that's a fantastic quality to have, as an entrepreneur. So I was blessed that, motherhood had happened by then to get that aspect of mine out. The third, motherhood teaches us a lot of things, but of course I can't keep going on about everything. But then another crucial thing what motherhood taught me is time management. Because what happens is, you're so busy, right? You have tons of things to do for your child. And this is one question many people ask me, that how are you actually managing your time? I think it taught me to prioritize properly. So you ask me today, I have literally no FOMO, JOMO, I don't know, whatever FOMOs exist in the world, because there's no time to think about all that. Like, I don't care what somebody else, I'm very happy for everybody's journey, honestly. If you see my feed, I'm always, very happy when, say, a friend in the writing community or in the entrepreneurship community has succeeded in something, has achieved something. I'm the first one to cheer, because I genuinely feel very happy. Because for me, my journey has nothing to do with theirs. And I think this has come with motherhood, that you focus on what you want, what is your life's priority, manage the time accordingly. So then you don't have to sit and, cry that, I'm missing out on this, or, oh no, I didn't do this. As of today, these are the 10 tasks I have to do. How am I going to accomplish? I have a very clear thought process. And I think that, again, same thing, it's helping in entrepreneurship immensely, because, again, I'm into so many things. And I think for me, my day, firstly, every day is different. But on a certain day, when I start my day, I have a very, clarity on this is what I have to accomplish in the day. I'm not thinking too much about, oh my God, I have some 100 tasks to complete. I just think of that moment. Like right now, I'm talking to you, I'm fully here. I'm not thinking about the 100 other things I have to do. Oh, baad mein dekha jayega. So this again has come from motherhood and entrepreneurship. I would say sort of further, built that skill in me, I'll say, because I feel time management is also a skill. Mostly prioritizing is what I feel time management is about. And I think, that is something which many people struggle to do, I feel, because we are humans, no? We want 10 things, 20 things. So I think that clarity that this is what I want, and then stand by it. Then later don't come and think, oh, I missed out on an opportunity. I'll give an example, okay? So my mom and I had received an offer for being on an earlier season of MasterChef India. Not like, I think they just wanted it like a special thing that a mother-daughter duo, and
All right.
we didn't even discuss much, because when I spoke to my mom, she said it's not possible. The situation at that time was such that she said, no, going there and staying so many days. There were quite a few reasons. But I never saw my mom even once regret that. Like, so that's the thing. You need to stick by your priorities. If at a certain point you didn't choose certain thing, it's fine, don't lament over it. I think that is where a lot of people, somewhere I feel that's the reason they feel, I couldn't do something, time management work, because we want everything. That's not going to happen. You have to choose your priorities and stick by them.
Right. I what you mentioned, fortunately, I have seen a couple of incidents that way where people do miss out on certain opportunities. But I believe they crib or they complain or they regret about it, not because it is something that's there on their mind. It's mostly because of the people around them. Right. Yeah. So there was this conversation my friend was having with his friend, right? So we were three of them, and we three were having a conversation, and this guy, he just comes up and is like, dude, I must have done that at that particular time, I should have done that. Agar kara hota to things would have been different, etc., etc. And the other guy, the response, I'll tell you, quote unquote, the response, tu nahi kiya, jab karna chahiye tha tu nahi kiya, abhi kyun ro raha hai uske upar, And I believe those kind of responses are very regressive, right?
Of course.
They take you to a place where you're just talking about it, you're just thinking about it, to a place where you're guilty about it, to a place where you're regretful, to a place where you think that I might not be again the same person that I was before because of those comments. And sometimes it comes from your own family members, sometimes it comes from your own, loving the people that you love. And I think people has to change, right? I mean, there has to be a certain way of responding to things. There's a certain way of reacting to certain things. And I believe that you have to choose your community as well.
Of course. And in fact, I always say this to all the women we mentor also, that the people around you, it's very important, because have a positive, like you said, the community, which is actually very encouraging. This is what even I did. So see, when I resigned from my corporate job many years ago, that was not even a time when people were doing that. Now entrepreneurship is encouraged so much, and it's a very different ecosystem. So if most people felt that time that I was stupid, who does this, left such a wonderful Infosys job to, just do God knows what. That time I chose to focus on those who were very encouraging, who were like, oh wow, that's such a bold decision, we are with you, just go find your calling or whatever. So I feel, yes, the voices around you have to be, the ones that are encouraging, the ones that are, motivating or supporting. Also, I feel, this is a larger issue of, I'll be very honest, I feel most of the people don't know how to respond when someone is sharing something, which they are very sad about, or which something is wrong with their life. I feel most of us don't know how to respond. Really, I think we talk so much about empathy, sensitivity, but the language, I mean, the first thing we need, somebody will talk about patle ho gaye, mote ho gaye, are ye face pe kya ho gaya, ye kya ho gaya. We don't know how to do conversations. The moment somebody says, "Yeah, I'm sad, this happened in my life," so many people would compare and say, "Arey, chhod na, uski to zindagi itni aur kharab hai." So that is the thing, and it may not come from a negative place, but it's just that I feel this is one thing
people do not know how to
need to be trained on. I feel more than anything else, we don't know how to respond. So that's why you cannot sit and teach people. So you choose the voices you want around you, basically.
Right. You know, because of this, I really feel this has been a very major issue in relationships, in any form of relationships,
of
right?
course.
Because let's say you're a husband, and like there's a family and there's a husband and a wife, and most of the times what wife feels, and she just want to express, and she just wants someone to listen. I mean, someone to listen.
Yeah.
But then husband being a husband, right, very logical sometimes, who wants logical answers, right? When you are really hurt, you just want someone to listen to you.
Right.
And when you're listening to a certain person, you're giving logical answers to it, the other person will get irritated.
Of course,
Right?
obviously.
And I have learned it the harder way. And now I make sure that whenever someone is sharing something to me, I'm listening. I don't run my entrepreneur mind to solve the answers, solve the problems. And I've learned the hard way. And I also believe that most of the times what happens is, this is the main cause of where you start having your mental health issues as well, right?
Obviously,
when you don't have people who know how to listen to you. Because listening is a skill that I believe most of us do not know. Listening to reply is a different aspect. Listening to encourage, or listening to make sure that the other person is happy, is at peace, is a different.
Understand them.
Right, and truly understand is completely different. And so what I do is, I recently started a startup called as Geno, where I'm making sure that there are people, psychologists, like trained psychologists, as well as people who are in the journey of becoming psychologists. I've made sure that we give them a certain training, and we are putting them on the platform, so that whenever there's someone who needs help and who really needs to talk to someone to listen to, that's when they can get connected to these people and they can talk to you. Because most of the times you go to a friend, you share a problem, they'll say, chal daru peete hain. Right. This is very manly.
I think it's a very
it's this manly. Chal sutta peete, chal daru peete, baat karte hain, so jate hain, or let's do something.
I feel that way women handle these things a lot.
No, with women, I whatever I've noticed, because since I've been trying to establish this company, I've done lots of research. With women, I see that they compare. मेरा husband ये कर रहा था, अरे तेरा छोड़, मेरा husband ये कर रहा था. Right? The moment that comparison, your problem is gone, and the other person starts sharing it. So I believe that there are lots of stuff that goes wrong, and I started this with a good intention to make sure that people are listening. Right? People do not just listen, but also help you heal. Right? Because when you talk to people who do not understand you, when you talk to, I mean, let's say they have the best of intentions, but if they're not understanding you, there's no point of talking. And even if you listen to that particular advice or that particular person, chances of you getting into the wrong route is much more higher. Right? So I made sure this is something that I'm really trying to do. I just want to tell you because we had this conversation.
So I
wanted to tell you.
I'm very happy to know that, because I think we need more of these initiatives or organizations that are very systematically supporting this. Because I think even though now we are talking about mental health so much, but in terms of the ecosystem, we still have a long way to go. Right now, though, I feel we are still at the conversation.
We are crawling. We are crawling.
Right. So I think that's really good to know, and I hope you find a lot of success in that.
Right. Thank you. Now that you've mentioned and you liked it, I'm sure I got my validation. So. But having said that, Anupama, I want to understand your times of discouragement and how did you pull yourself up? Because leaving Infosys in the year 2006, if I'm not wrong, Infosys is one of the best companies, and I believe that back then in early 90s, early 20s, getting into Infosys was a dream job.
It was my dream company.
It was a dream company to work in, and getting a job, I mean, तुम्हारा मोहल्ला खुश हो जाता है, that kind of thing, that you call upon your relatives and you do party and all that. And I think I've been introduced to Infosys by my cousins, most of the ones who started working in Infosys. And then I also remember in my school annual day, all the alumni, whoever used to get into Infosys or get into those big companies, Wipro and Tata, all of that, bigger companies, Deloitte, they used to host this, whenever we host this annual day functions, the principal, he used to call all those alumni and he's like, she got a job here, she got a job here, and that's something very proud back then.
Of course.
And then you being from that particular place where it was your dream company to leaving it, and I'm sure there were positive voices around you that would say, great, all the best for your journey, all of that, I understand. But at the same time, there would be also negative voices.
Many.
And the biggest of all is your own voice sometimes.
Yes.
Right? When you think that, oh my God, kyun kiya maine ye? Fine, I took a step, but then why did I even take this? This is also something that happens. And I believe most of other negative thoughts, the one that will actually sting you is your own. right? So I want to understand, how did you navigate that aspect and how did you transition in that particular period?
Right. So, just to clarify, I thankfully never had that thought that I probably shouldn't have resigned, thankfully. Because I think, again, that's a bit to do with my nature as a person. I do not, again, regret decisions, because when I take a decision, I took it keeping certain things in mind. That decision, so today I can say that it worked, but say if it hadn't worked also, I still wouldn't have regretted it, because there was a purpose to it. And I always feel in life there are no dead ends unless you're dead. So you always have a path to come back to go. Now the key thing in my case, of course, why I could take such a decision and sort of be at it, one big reason was the support at home. So when I first told my husband that one fine day.
Oh, you were married back then? In 2006?
Yes, I was married. Yeah, it's been many years to me. I have a 10-year-old now. So,
all right.
So I was married, and it was initial years of marriage, of course. And we both, in fact, we met in Infosys. So my husband and I met in Infosys. For me, Infosys was
corporate is the next Shadi.com. I believe corporates are the next Shadi.com. I see my friends getting married to
actually, now that you say, I think I'll agree to that, definitely. So yes, that's where we met, and he always knew I'm like an ambitious person. He knew I had a great career. He was always very supportive, even within Infosys. He would always give me tips, maybe, or sort of just generally be very encouraging towards how I can maybe get better, raise, salary hike, or promotions or whatever. So in general, he was always this person who. For him, my career was also as important. So that, I think, I lucked out there, because I know that is one big challenge for many women today. They don't have support from, forget others, even their own husbands. I mentor so many such entrepreneurs whose husbands are not at all supportive, and that's why we give them that sort of, encouragement and support through my non-profit. So having said that, I think that was a major factor. See, what happened in my case, Infosys was my dream company. And I was always a very creatively inclined person as a child. But the thing is, how those times were. I mean, it was like you either become an engineer or you become a doctor. And my parents are amazing, I must tell you. They are like very, very progressive, especially if I consider the time they are from. But see, they also were being practical, so they were like, see, we know you have different kind of interests and, passions, but that will not really give you a stable career. So you do this first, then later you can figure things out. And maybe that time, I think my mom must have thought, okay, abhi aise, bol ke thoda kar deti hu. So I did my engineering, I did my MBA, then, through campus, I joined Infosys. I worked there for 6.5 years. What had happened was, I was in Australia, actually. We were there for a client, project. And one very senior person, like a lady from Infosys, she was supposed to come to Melbourne for the SAP World Tour event to give a presentation from my practice. So her visa didn't come the last moment, something happened, and then she said, now you need to give this presentation. And she was really senior, and usually these presentations are given by really senior folks in the practice. That was me, and then she said, and there were I think 4-5 days remaining, and not much time to prepare. We went and purchased some good formals and all of that. My husband, he sat when I was practicing, we did everything. And that presentation went really well. I got, appreciation from the top management, and also it was promotion to pakka hai, CRR 1+ pakka hai. Now the thing is, when that happened, I did not feel any high. And for me, that was the point when I realized that it's a big achievement. You getting appreciation from all quarters. Why are you not feeling jumping? Because the kind of person I am a very if I crack something, I'll be oh yeah, I feel the thrill of it basically. So I was I'm not feeling, I don't know, I'm just not feeling the kick. I think then I went into that introspection mode, and it hit me then that it's because ultimately this isn't my passion or things that truly drive me. And then I thought that if not now, then when? And that's it. One night of thinking, and next day I went and told my husband that I think I want to resign. And luckily he was okay, great. I think we have saved enough for the EMIs of home, so I can run the home. You figure things out. So that support mattered a lot in my case, because for me it was I don't need anybody else now. When you have your partner's unflinching support. And the thing about, feeling lost and how you navigate that. See, for me, two factors are there. See, one is we get affected by the people, right? One factor is, when people are saying, oh, what a stupid decision. That is one thing I've learned over the years to not get affected by, because, how I look at it is, at the end of the day, it's between me and my conscience. You'll see people saying that those people are not paying your bills, or, they are not coming to help you in times of need. So how does it really matter what they think? And I completely agree with that. But even above that, the way I look at it is, at the end of the day, who am I answerable to? Only to myself. I'm not answerable. I don't owe anything to anybody.
Right.
Meri marzi, my life. I don't owe you any answers. And simply, I have the same thing for others' lives also. Right. I might think you're making the worst decision, but I'll not taunt you over it unless you ask me for a very safe, honest opinion or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how I am, and that's my philosophy in life, that if I am answerable to myself, I can face myself, then I'm doing a great job, and I was very proud of myself that time for that decision. So I think that thought process did help me, sort of keep all these negative comments and then of course, focusing on those who are supporting and things like that. The other, challenge what happens is, see, when you're figuring things out, you don't have a clear, path or whatever, right? So when I resigned, it was a very, okay, I have to do something of my own. So that phase is definitely a little challenging. The moment there's a clarity and you're working towards a certain specific purpose, it's a lot better. But for me, I think that itself was a little challenging, that okay, what do I start with? And I think I just went about it, very logically. Journaling, I would recommend journaling highly to everybody. Trust me, journaling is the answer to a lot of chaos in your head. It gives you a lot of clarity. It's amazing for goal setting. I do a lot of journaling workshops also for kids, as well as now I'm going to be doing it at a corporate as well. So that's what, in the journal, when I sort of scribbled and figured, then I realized that start with skill upgrading. Because you are now going to do something else.
Right.
Do you have enough skills for that? So start there. And slowly I started getting that clarity. So I think journaling and developing, that kind of mindset, I think that really helps. Also, for every person, there'll be this one activity which is, you can say, sort of like your energizer, or, which it's the activity which gives you that energy.
Right.
For me, it's dancing. So I think I always, and I think if you don't have any such activity, find it, because there will always be, something that's your mojo, and you need to figure out, because as an entrepreneur also, there are going to be days which are really low, and you need these small tools, to keep going, to maintain that sort of energy, enthusiasm. You cannot let it dip. So that's how I navigate it. And I think it has to be really practical. There is no other way to navigate this actually.
Right. What I do is I basically play games, and I go out for trips. These are the things
traveling
that I do.
Traveling.
Traveling for me is like my sacred space. Like, traveling is my sacred space. And then other than that, I do play a game. I have a game on my other phone, which I use only for the game's sake. So I have like 3 to 4 games. I don't do the PS4 and all, because I don't get that much time. But then whenever I'm low, or I just want to make sure that I'm re-energized again, I just open this game, and these games are very addictive in nature. So like, once you start, you can't stop.
So that's a different problem.
That's a different problem. But then what I do is I put a cap for it. Okay. I play for like 10 to 15 minutes for sure. And since these are addictive games, what it does is, for that time being, it removes everything from your mind. Right? You're completely focused. Like, you have to kill this person, or you have to do something. So that helps.
But I'll suggest a brain dump. Okay, there's something called as a brain dump. This works with many people. Right. So that's a part of journaling. So it's like, kind of a streams of consciousness thing, where you are just, don't self-correct, like don't correct anything, just keep on writing, set a timer, whatever is in your head, even if it's very random, like from my cook didn't come today, and then you jump to something else. Trust me, regular brain dumps help you clear your head a lot. People don't realize, the efficacy of it. It's amazing, so I do that from time to time, and I've also like worked with a lot of kids who felt that really helps them bring more structure to their thoughts and just take out, sometimes you just want to vent out things. So
right. No, I'll do it. I'll get back to you as well after doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'll
100%.
definitely tell you how it worked for me. Thank you for sharing. But having said that, Anupama, I want to understand your life now. Right? What are you up to? What do you do? And how does your typical day look
Yeah.
like? I want to understand that aspect because the lots that you're doing right now, and I want to understand each one aspect of it, especially the kind of work that you're doing
Yeah.
with women and children.
Yes,
I want
yes.
to understand the problems that you're facing in general,
Okay,
in India
sure.
especially. So yeah, please.
Okay, so the work that I do is, so there's a content space, then there's work I do with kids, and then there's work I do with women. So I'll go one by one. So right now, no, so just to let you know that over the years, even the work I do, so I have this thing that every new year, I'm going to decide this year what are the things I'm going to focus on, because I feel as you grow in your career, you have to also let go of things, right? You can't keep doing, you can't stagnate, and you have to realize that now there are some things you will not get time for, because
Right.
there's a very natural growth and progression. So I do that during the New Year time, when I take my time, you can say sort of reinventing my own self, and what I want to do that particular year, what are the roles I want to focus on, what I'll let go. So right now, this year, what I'm really focusing on. So firstly, I'm the national president of WICCI Holistic Child Development Council. WICCI is Women's India Chamber of Commerce and Industry,
All right.
and it's a non-profit. It's a global entity. And I'm leading the Child Development Council in India. Now, as a part of that, there's so much I want to do. We've been doing a lot of work. It's a new council. It started just last year. So, for example, in Hyderabad, in collaboration with a wonderful organization called Marham, which works with autistic kids, we conducted an event in Gachibowli Stadium in the month of April, which was the Autism Awareness Month as well. And more than 3,000 people turned up. So, so we've been doing different things, events, workshops. For example, we've done a couple of workshops in schools, which we plan to do even more, where we are going and educating primary school or say preschool teachers on how to detect autism early in kids, because that can make a huge difference in how we treat or whatever, support it later. So there's work being done. A lot of work we are planning in mental health space as well, because I think that is one area which needs a lot of attention. Our kids and teens are honestly going through a lot, and unfortunately I think most adults don't know what to do about it. I know parents are concerned, I know teachers are concerned, but what to do about it? That's the whole challenge. It's so sad when you hear news of kids died by suicide, and there's so much more even otherwise also, small anxiety, stress, you never know when it blows up. And so they are going through a lot, and definitely we want to do a lot of work in that space. We are trying to reach out to various schools to see what can be included in a curriculum, and their overall say the day plan and scheduling in terms of some small daily activities which can help kids focus more on their emotional health and how they can reach out, having the right kind of people. Because the problem right now, what's happening is many schools have counselors, but trust me, like my students come and tell me that 80% of them are not good. They say things they're not supposed to say, and it's sad. So I think we truly need more skilled people, awareness of skilled people, a better, like I said, stronger ecosystem. So yes, Child Development Council, I'm sure we have loads to do, and we have things planned as well. So that's one thing I'm doing. Then, of course, as an entrepreneur, I'm running 3 companies. One is Beyond the Box, which I said earlier is, it's on the cusp of
what does that
nutrition
do
and
as of
education.
now?
So Beyond the Box is actually into a lot of things. I think that can be an interview in itself.
Right.
But
because there's no app I've gone through, and there were so many things. So if you can pinpoint.
Yeah. So I'll just, in short, we are using the medium of creative thinking, creative writing, and communication to empower kids primarily. Now we are working with adults as well. I've done a lot of programs in schools for adults also now, like for teachers, to improve their communication. We are also discussing with a couple of corporates. So we ventured into the adult space as well. but our core is still with kids. So, in our country, mostly, most schools, again, this is where I noticed the gap actually when I started Beyond the Box. Writing as an activity is very academic. But creative writing is a lot more than that. It can truly be such an amazingly empowering medium for kids to acknowledge their thoughts, to express it, articulate it, without the fear of, judgments, be, totally in sync with what they think. I think that is what I realized, that it's not happening because it's become very academic, like, okay, write an essay and yeah, you need to get 9 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. And I was like, no, this has to change, because as a writer myself, I was like, I know how powerful this can be for their growth. So that's how it all started, and I'm blessed that I've been able to reach out to about 12,000 kids now across the globe over the years with these classes and workshops. So that's mainly what we do, and then we give a lot of opportunities to kids. Like, we do a lot of book projects, many events online, be it poetry or be it storytelling related, whatever it is. We connect the kids with authors. So the idea is to make learning fun for them, and like I said, use this as a tool which stays with them for life, which and in today's times, I feel expression is all the more important. They may need it everywhere. So that's what we are primarily doing there.
I want to understand the revenue model of this company.
Okay, so now the thing is, interestingly, our revenue is all based on mentoring. So like, I will go and take a class today after this podcast. So I have daily classes going on with batch of kids. That's a very major, you can say, component of the revenue. Then of course, the big projects we do in school, like for example, in one of the schools in Hyderabad, I did a year-long teachers training. So, there are multiple such different projects. There's a project we're doing, in fact, with the school out of India also now. So the projects are related to, either helping them, say, design a certain curriculum for creative writing, or just go and coach, maybe the teachers, or do something for the students, whatever it is. So that is there. And the third is through, say, sale of our books, or events maybe. So suppose if somebody reaches out to me that we want you to host this literary event, some of it, that's also, where we can bridge the gap, basically, be that community. So a lot of people come to BTB community if they want to, say, promote something, right, for the kids. So it's a community where they can, make use of and promote. So these are the different revenue models. We have a very strict policy of not charging for simply being in the community. It's free, open, just come, be a part of our events, whatever. No need to pay for anything to participate in a contest. We also run yearly awards, and we don't take even a single rupee, because I had to specify that, because these days it's so common to charge.
I know. It's just, so what happened? I think this happened in the earlier days when I was on LinkedIn, very early. I think it was in the early 2016 when I got active on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I got this amazing message that, hey, so I've started working, as I mentioned, I have a couple of companies that I used to work with, and I have my own companies as well. So there was this nice message that, hey, we have seen your work, we liked it, and we really believe that you could be, so and so, you could be awarded so and so, and etc. etc. And if you want to know more about, you can just click on this link and have a meeting, one-on-one meeting. I thought, okay, cool. I think they have found me somewhere. I'm doing some great work. I'm like, oh, I was really happy. I'm like, oh, yes, I've cracked it. Now I'll get into those awards and all that.
Right.
And when I opened it, it was like, you got to do this and you have to pay this much amount.
Right.
And I'm like, what? I'm like, if call me or let me know if you see me, right? I mean, see me as a person who has done certain and then you try to give an award or something. But what is this paying award and then getting
exactly. So I just find it ridiculous, and I have won quite a few awards, touch wood, over the years. I'm blessed again in my journey. So now I'm like, see, I don't even need it, honestly. Like, I've already won based on my credibility. Why the hell would you think that I will pay? So we are also very particular that not even charging a single rupee for anything. In fact, it's also common now to ask money for book publishing. Like, say, for example, somebody will say that you need to pay some 1,000 rupees and you'll be a part of this anthology. No, we don't even charge for that. So now this is where I was talking about the thing initially, that to be patient. I've seen a lot of other similar, say, companies or platforms that come up. They succumb because they feel, oh, chalo isme, let me ask for money and I'll get it. But the thing is, over the years, they have not really been able to establish themselves as strongly, because you didn't create that credibility. Today people always feel that yes, if it is B2B, we know everything will be done with a lot of honesty, credibility, and a genuine love for what they're doing. So this is something where I took time. I was like, even if it's not one of the big companies in the initial years, it's absolutely fine. It will happen. And without even trying, last year so many business magazines and all, they featured BTB as one of these sort of market disruptors in this space, because not many are able to really break even as well on the revenue side of things basically. So like I said, it takes time. It's taken many years. You have to stay put basically. So that's with BTB. And then I'm a trained dancer. I love dancing, and my mom says
you have a company of yours, right? Rhythm and Beats, right?
So we do, like now the Ganpati time, I'll get busy dancing.
Really?
We do public events called Dance Marathon, where I make almost 150 to 200 people dance continuously. So it's a fun event. Maybe you want to come and join.
Please let me know. Please let me know.
Yes. So
no, I wouldn't come and join. I'm very bad at dancing, but I'd come and see. Right.
Oh no! But there everybody dances, because it's a marathon for everybody. So the concept is like you have to dance without stopping on a mix that I make for 30 minutes, and whoever can stay put till the end, like without stopping, and with all the energy, they get prizes and also. It's a really fun event. The energy is just amazing.
Wow.
So the dance thing is also there. Then there's Tingle Your Taste Buds, which is a cookery website, which actually I run with my mom. So that one was started purely, for her, because when I was pursuing my passions, I was like, I might as well make her go closer to what she loves. So that's why I'm not a great cook. I have to keep clarifying this to people. मैं खाना नहीं बनाने वाली हूँ. So I'm just the one who takes care of content, marketing and all that, because obviously she's not very well versed with that. So that is there. That will also be monetized through website advertisements and cookery ebooks. Which are doing decently well on Amazon. So that's there. And then as a content creator, so I don't like calling myself an influencer. So I would say I started as a blogger at a time when
no one,
it was just a burgeoning thing. Instagram was not there really. So and then now I've shifted to, of course, I still blog. In fact, my website still gets hits, and I love the writing part of it. But yes, of course, I'm very choosy about the brand collabs I do say on Instagram, because firstly, it's not my primary area of work, and secondly, again, I'm very particular about the credibility there. Like I've said no to brands like those sugar drinks and all, Tropicana and all that. I mean, I'm like, see, I don't use it. I won't advocate for it also, So that way I'm a little particular about, I'm like, only if I really use something, I'm going to ask others to use it, basically.
All right.
But probably just one more thing I'll mention about, the things I do. I know I've, explained a lot of things. I run a non-profit called Building Bridges Foundation. Again, interestingly, this
when did you start?
I'll tell you how it all began. So when I started blogging, like, a decade ago, I used to write a lot about women's issues or motherhood related in a very raw manner, like in the sense I was very strong with my voice in the writing and saying things as it is, not just presenting the rosy picture of motherhood, but the genuine challenges and what women go through, all of that. So slowly what happened was that a lot of women, they would read those, like the readers, and they would ping me. And that time it was more of Facebook. So they would ping me and say that, we related to this, or we are so glad you spoke about this. And sometimes they would share their own, personal experiences, incidents, whatever. And it used to happen very ad hoc. Now the thing is, I have earlier volunteered at an anti-trafficking organization. So when I had resigned, before all this started, so that experience had taught me a lot. Actually, I feel today, whatever I am, a lot of it is because of that experience. So I kind of use that knowledge and whatever I learned there to talk to these people the right way. Like I said, most of us don't know that when somebody is sharing their personal thoughts or, is sharing some problem with you, what should I be saying? But in my case, I think because I had a certain experience of, working with human trafficking survivors, it was easier maybe. And I knew, how to talk to them, how to respond, how to make them feel comforted, encouraged. And that became a very informal thing, and somehow it just spread that, okay, you're feeling low, talk to Anupama. And I was like, but I'm not really, obviously a professional. So during COVID is when, I felt that there is a need for a little more systematic ecosystem, not just for women to come and vent out. I mean, that is of course a small part of it. But I realized that, one thing which they truly need is a very strong supportive network to learn and grow. Because many of them were like, my in-laws are not supportive, my husband is not supportive, I cannot go out of home. There are various it may seem like very, simple challenges, but it's a big challenge for a woman. Even in today's times, there are women who are like, I can't go out. I live in a joint family and I have so and so challenges. So it is really a big problem. And I realized that these women are talented, but what they need is somebody to come and teach them a little, encourage them, handhold them. And over the years, one more thing what I've realized is that when we talk of women empowerment, truly upskilling, I feel, is a very, very important aspect of it. So I was like, okay, let me start something for that, including, of course, being a friend to them where they can vent and everything. But like I said, that was not really, the main purpose. So that's when it all started, and we've helped about 350 women establish their small businesses through the foundation. It's all voluntary work.
Wow.
So I mentor them on, quite a few aspects, and the places where I need help myself, like say the financial planning. This again, there are so many women even today who are very successful also, but because of the way our society has conditioned these things, they are not on the top of their money, or they are not the ones making decisions for their money or investing still. This is something which I feel again has a long way to go. So financial planning, how to sort of use that money, how to take care of other financial aspects of business, because talent they have, but these things sometimes can be very overwhelming for the home-based women entrepreneurs, or the ones who have not really had a lot of experience here. So that's what we've been doing through building bridges, and again that's been a very fulfilling journey, because I feel mentoring is one thing which is like a co-learning experience. So whether it's with kids, in fact, kids, you learn so much from them, or whether it's with women who need support, I feel it enriches me a lot. And today, if you feel that, okay, I have a certain clarity of thought, or I'm very sorted, like this is one word a lot of people use for me, that you're a very sorted person. It has come from these experiences a lot, that the more you see the world around, talk to people, know their journeys, it is very grounding, and it gives you clarity in ways that nothing else can give you. This real experience of just going out there, do things. That's why I keep telling people, do things. Just don't sit and say, oh, I don't know what to do, or just go out there. There's a lot of things to do, but are you pushing yourself enough? That's the thing. So
right. You're doing so many things, but then I got hold to certain things that you've mentioned. First, I want to understand, since you work with child support, the whole holistic development of child, I want to understand what, according to you, is the biggest drawback that we are having in terms of knowledge sharing when it comes to a development of child or taking care of a child, that aspect. What are the common mistakes that parents do these days? Because I believe parenting is also something that's very important for India especially, but then somehow we're not there yet. There are certain people who are taking lots of care, but then of course there are drawbacks. So I want to understand that part for parents. So this would be genuinely for the parents who are currently having the toddlers, or their child who are like 5-6 years old. Right. Second, I would want to understand about women. What kind of problems are they facing even today? And third, I want to talk about the human trafficking part that you mentioned, because people still think that it's just for the movies. People still think that it doesn't happen in real life, but the true reality is that every day, as we're speaking right now, someone or the other is getting trafficked, right? From every part and parcel of the world as we speak. So I want to understand all these three things. I know this is a very big question, but please.
Okay. So to start with kids, see, I think parenting or all this, the thing, I feel this is one area about which everybody has an opinion. Everybody will have an opinion on what parents should be doing, or what we should be doing right with kids. The problem is, who is listening to the kids? I feel that is the biggest problem. Are you going down to your target audience there, so to say, to understand what they really want?
Wow.
So this is what we've been trying to do with WICCI as well. So we actually have a teen council. That's the reason, I was very particular that no, it will not just be the adults taking all decisions, doing things. We need to have a teen council. Let them tell us what is it that we are missing. Is it something, that sometimes it can happen that smallest of things, the most, mature of us or say most observant of us might miss out on. Do they have a voice? So give them the voice, give them that chance. Let them tell us that, look, auntie, I think this is something we should, be looking at, or I think this is not how you all are thinking. It won't work with this generation. This is how this gen is thinking. So I feel that is the biggest problem, that all the conversation is happening among, all of us adults who feel we are like so sensible, we know everything. Trust me, we don't give kids enough credit for their sensibility, because वो होता ना, अरे बच्चे अभी उनको नहीं समझ में आएगा, ऐसा नहीं है. And I think kids today have so much clarity. My daughter, she sometimes, I just joke कि तुम तो दादी अम्मा, but the fact is nowadays kids, they know a lot. And see, this is, and one more, I think a big mistake we make is we keep comparing to our times. Now, of course, I agree that 90s childhood had its beauty,
problems.
Yeah, and I mean that I agree that now there are genuine issues, but it's not the kids who have created those issues. Right.
So
who has
stop
created?
rubbing.
Right. So you have created the issues, so don't blame it on them. You look at how this needs to be sorted. Now the thing is, the other day, someone was saying that, oh, this generation breaks down so fast, they get mental health issue at everything. Yeah, can you imagine a generation where all adults are anxious? How are you expecting them to be very sorted, very happy? They have seen COVID, they are seeing wars, they are like, just imagine the kind of upbringing we had and the kind of upbringing they are having. So this, I feel, is the biggest problem, that we are not truly thinking from the point of view of children. We are not involving them in the conversations. We can't just go and instruct things to them. You have to involve them. As somebody, give them credit for their thoughts. And this is one thing I won't say that I'm great enough to do it, but I aim to do, when I work with kids. With my daughter also, it's very difficult to let go of parental ego. You were talking about egos earlier. I think more than the entrepreneur ego, it's the parental ego, which is even more challenging, because again, we all have been brought up in, that sort of a mindset that parents are always right. You're supposed to listen to them. If you answer back to them, then it's disrespect. So I have always told my daughter that no, it's okay, answer back to me. It's not disrespect. If you're not being disrespectful in your tone and your words, then you have all the right to correct me. This makes her feel really empowered. So I'm not saying again I'm doing all the right things as a parent, but
there's a small things that leads
matter a lot. We talk about creating leaders. How are you going to create leaders if you're not giving the child the confidence to speak their mind at home? So where will they go and speak their mind then? Like if they're not doing it at home. So this, I feel, I think at the core level itself, we all need a transformation before the children. We are aiming to do that, as I said, through B2B, through WICCI, through collaborating with probably even other platforms and, organizations which are having a similar ethos. And I hope, together, maybe a few years down the line, we can see some real change, ground level
this
change.
This actually took me to Tare Zameen Par, the movie, right?
Oh, you won't believe, it's so funny, because one of my students actually one day saw Tare Zameen Par, because the movie released much earlier, so, and messaged me that, Auntie Amir's character actually reminded me of you. So I was like so touched, and I said, yeah, that's a big compliment,
Right. No, I think every 90s, early 2000 kids have seen Tare Zameen Par, and it was a movie that I think every parent must watch it, and every student, every kid must also watch it. So I really encourage all the parents. So last time there was this birthday of my cousin. My cousin had a daughter, and they celebrated her 7th or 8th birthday, I guess. And I gave them this free like Tare Zameen Par. It's on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
I bought that I rented the movie for quite some days, and I've given them the code that you have to watch this movie together. So I really encourage everyone to actually watch that movie.
I completely
kids
agree.
And parents alike.
I wrote a blog post also on Tare Zameen Par when I saw it again after many years with my daughter.
Right.
And these movies, they give you a lot of fresh perspective. Like, so see, when I watched it, I watched it as a daughter, like when it had released. I was not a mother that time.
Right.
Now, when I was watching it with my daughter, like not recently, it's I think been a couple of years. So I was watching it as a mother, as a mentor to kids.
Right.
And it changes your perspectives,
Right.
the same content, and you look at things, oh yeah, this is so true, or this is how I should probably change something. And after that movie, in fact, I had such a lovely conversation with my daughter also, that about the things that were addressed and everything. And then I wrote a blog post also on it. So I completely agree, I think, and that's why I call that movie a sort of game changer,
Right,
because
right,
it did bring in so many conversations around things which I think before that nobody was talking about.
Right. No, Tar is Zameen Par, Three Idiots. I mean, there's certain
Of course,
gem that
of
we
course.
have. But having said that, I want to understand from the perspective, like since you've been also working with girls and women, I want to understand that. What are the drawbacks that we are having? What are the gaps that we still need to, fill in?
Yeah, that was your other question. So about women, oh, there are so many. Where do I start and where do I end? So I genuinely feel that the problem, the biggest problem is, and I won't say this in a condescending way, but genuinely I feel one biggest problem is that people think the issues are over. You will, the moment you raise something, and especially a lot of men, they think, oh no, these issues are all over. Nowadays women are empowered, they are like, say, leading companies or whatever. So few things have transformed and people are jumping at thinking that it's a great world and there's equality. I think this is actually a problem because it is not, obviously, and there are a lot of issues to be addressed. See, for me, if you ask me the kind of issues I see very ground level basic issues even now. Like I said, there are women who are still, and there are so many educated women who are still living in setups where they are expected to just take care of family and work in the kitchen morning to night. When the movie Mrs. came out, so many people were like, "Arey, that doesn't happen anymore." I was like, "Are you crazy? Then you have not seen many homes yet." So just because it's not happening to you or in your immediate circle, you can't close your eyes to statistics.
Right.
You talk of safety. Every day we are hearing of horrific rape cases, and those are at least, I would say, the ones that get reported. There are so many which are not getting reported. Safety of our children, girls are not safe, even boys are not safe, the kids. So, I think there are multiple issues to be dealt with, but what I feel, the openness to really change has to come first, because the moment I bring this up with, say, any of the men or even women, I feel that, unless you truly think that, yes, there is a problem and things have to change, it's not going to happen because you're thinking, oh, no, it's all good and it's all fine. Till it happens to somebody, maybe right? So I think that openness for this society to change, I don't see it so much now, honestly, if you ask me. And I think that is where I feel we have a very long way to go, honestly, to truly have a very equal world. I'll give you a very small example, So many women are mothers and they're working at a corporate, yet it is only they who are coming back and taking care of home. I know things are changing. Like, for example, my husband has never made me feel that, I am the one responsible for things at home. He is very independent. And in fact, I truly feel I lucked out, like I said, with my partner. But my case is not the case of everyone.
Right.
And there are so many that, they're literally slogging. So where is the time for them to do something for themselves? Even if a lady is, say she's an entrepreneur, she is told by her family that घर का कुछ भी काम और बच्चों का कुछ भी इफेक्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, उसके बाद तुमको जो करना है करो, उसके बाद घंटे ही कितने बचे हैं, right? So the genuine encouragement for women and girls to grow, that I see it missing genuinely. Of course, it's very different now. I'm glad, now government themselves, they have a lot of great policies and, the ecosystem is definitely changing in that sense. If I talk of, say, the policies or legal aspects and things like that. But the core issue of mindset and, how we think, what our attitude is towards women, I think those ingrained things have to be deconditioned. And kya hai na, see, this is not about being a good person or bad person. The best of people will have some conditioning. And are you truly willing to let go of it, because it comes from a very uncomfortable space, right? Today, if someone comes and tells me, I'll give an example, okay? There was a time when I used to make fun of lesbians and all too. I've been there, I've been in that phase when I would say I was not as inclusive as I was today, probably in college times, because, we were not aware, right? Those were days when nobody used to talk about these things. Now, if somebody comes and points out that to me, it is uncomfortable, but I have to go through that, uncomfortable phase to truly become a better person. That has to come in everybody, and I really don't know when that's going to happen. When you are okay to be corrected, when you're okay to be told that, look, this is something wrong. Small things. Does your husband help at home? He doesn't help at his own home. It's his home. Why are you using the term help? And that's a conditioning, that's an ingrained mindset which so many people have. They'll be like, oh wow, you're so lucky your husband makes rotis. I was like, haan, award bhi de do for making rotis. So you're getting me. So this thing, this attitude, this mindset, even though on the face of it we are all progressive, I think there are so many little things ingrained. All that needs to be deconditioned. And like I said, I don't know when that will happen. We can only keep talking about it. We can only keep, working towards it.
I really believe, but this is definitely going to help. I believe the power of dialogue.
Yeah, so that's what we are trying to do, right?
Talk and look at the world. Every major problems ever that has been ever had, apart from the world wars that happened. But apart from that, I think most of the issues have always solved by dialogues.
But that's what you can do, right? Eventually, unless there's a dialogue and a that's why I said, I don't know when, but hopefully it will, because like for example, you are now talking about this in this podcast, right? I have written a lot about these things. There are people who are, talking about it on events or whatever. So it is shifting. But I think this is such a thing, see a complete societal mindset will take time to change. So I think we just can go about what we are doing, and I'm really glad you are bringing up these topics even in the podcast, because I feel all kinds of audience, because there are people who I probably have not reached out to earlier, so I'm glad I'm reaching out to some more audience to at least make them think. I think if you hear somebody and even if they'll leave some thought in your head and you feel maybe there's something I was doing and probably I can change. Why not? I think it's fantastic.
No, it's definitely going to change the world also, because what happened I think couple of weeks back, I've seen this piece of content which was beautifully explaining about how women are facing the problems. About true empowerment and all that. I saw that video, and when after completion of that particular 1 minute, 1.5 minute video, I was like, cool, I've learned something from it, right? And then I just started doing my work, and after 2 to 3 days, I have heard someone talking to me, one of my friends, about the same content that he has watched.
Oh, nice.
Right? Nice. And he was like, what, this is what women are facing. Right. I'm like, dude, I also went through the same thing, right? And now, because of that one particular reel, there are 2 people who are informed now.
Right. And maybe if there would have been somebody with
you, of course,
they would have been a part of that conversation too.
So it's more about, it's just crazy that I gathered some information from a piece of content, you consumed it, the other person is also consuming, and then now there's a chain of 100 people have consumed that particular content, and they're all aware now, right? On periods, right? On women hygiene,
many things,
right? I'm like, wow, man. And I know for sure that this, what I'm trying to do, this is also going to do the same.
Yeah, and I just want to, say one thing to everybody who's watching, that, this equity or equality, what we talk about, I think ultimately it's not just a women's thing. I think the moment we look at it as a societal thing, that it is good for everybody, because patriarchy also, causes issues to men as well. You ask boy kids, my students who are boys, even now I hear people telling them that,
boys don't cry.
Yeah. Very recently, there was like one of my students, he lost some match and he was crying, and people are consoling him saying, "Arey, ladki hai kya? Aise kaun rota hai?" So there are things which are still happening very much, they're like very much rampant. So I think we need to look at it as, something for the betterment of everybody. I think that itself will change a lot of, the attitude towards it, that if we are doing something, it's not like nobody's doing a favor on women. It's ultimately for everybody, for the society's betterment, because obviously 1.5 of the society, if they are not, say uplifted, or, they're going through a lot of problems, overall, how much can a society progress, right?
Right. Wow. Such a fresh perspective. But having said that, Anupama, I really want to understand your experience working with human traffic victims or anti-trafficking organization that you were talking about. I really want to know that. And this is somehow the least known to people. Even on podcast, I don't see much about human trafficking, which is becoming very problematic these days.
Yes.
Right.
So I want to even before.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be talking about this for the first time, because till now I've given so many interviews, and I don't know, like nobody has ever asked me about this for some reason.
Right.
Or maybe because I used to do this like long back, so probably.
Or maybe I'm one of the best hosts.
Yes, I think I'll give you that. Right. So I'm glad you asked me this. So I actually was involved in this many years ago. So when I had resigned, so again, not many people know that one of the triggers of my resigning, of course, like I mentioned, it was just to find my own calling and all. But the final trigger. So when I actually went and told my bosses that I want to resign. So the same lady, right, who was supposed to come to Australia but couldn't come, she was very fond of me, because she felt I had a lot of potential and I'm very smart and all, so, which I am. I agree with her. So
I think everyone agrees. Right.
So she, was not very keen, because she thought that I might resign and just sit at home, and like for some reason she thought that I don't want her to not do something for herself, and she said no, don't resign, and I said no. I really want to do something. It's not like I'm just going to. She didn't want me to basically, I think, be a homemaker. Though there's absolutely nothing wrong in it. I think it's really hard being a homemaker. But I think she just saw a lot of potential in me in the professional space, and she wanted me to really pursue that. So she said, do one thing, take a break of a year. She gave me a sabbatical permission, take a sabbatical for a year. If even after that you're very sure that you really want to pursue another path, you do that, else you're welcome to come back. So I just obviously was very happy.
Could you tell the name of her, because I really wanted to be out there.
Name of the
lady. Yeah.
Okay, I hope she doesn't mind. Her name is Rakhi Makar, and though now we are not in touch.
She's very inspirational.
She is an amazing. Yeah. I think she was one of my, I can say, the first women in my life who I really looked up to in the workspace. Of course, my mom is there, but then in the workspace. Right. And even today, I remember her. I don't know whether she does. In fact, once long back, I think she didn't message me also that I'm really happy to see the things you're doing. So I was like, chalo, she's satisfied that jaane diya to usne kuch kiya uska. So she said that. So I said, wow, great. So that was the period when I was on a sabbatical. And the Nirbhaya incident happened. For me, that was the biggest trigger to resign, because I anyway knew I will. I mean, by then I had more or less thought that I'll resign. But, after that, I actually initiated my e-separation, because that incident, of course, it shook everybody, in the country. And it was again an incident.
It was a horrible time for everyone.
Yes.
For me, I remember during the Nirbhaya case, it just affected me so much that for the next couple of days, वो जो होता है ना shelves, like before now the cupboards and all that come, but then before they just do these they put them some stones and then they make these shelves. I used to sleep in the bottom shelf, like inside I used to be like a cocoon. It affected me so much.
It was really
to just think what must have happened and of course I was a kid, but then it affected me so much. And I remember that I went inside that shelf and I used to cry. It was that bad for me.
It was really horrible. So same thing, it really, of course it affected me a little differently in the sense that there was a lot of anger in me.
Right, and helplessness, right?
That what is going on and why the hell is this going on? So when I took some days to finally sort of gather my thoughts, I was like, I don't want to be a person who is blaming the system, the people. Of course, everybody is accountable, at their, whatever respective places. But I said, I don't want to only sit and complain. I really want to do something. And that's when I was like, I'll resign. I'll, of course, pursue something for my profession, like, the one which gets me the money. But I also want to do something on the ground. And that's how I, got into this anti-trafficking thing. So that's how I just want to give a background of how I got in there. So when I came back to India, so I was in Sweden then actually when I had initiated my separation. I was with my husband. So he was on a project there. And because I was on a sabbatical, so I was just there with him. When we came back to India is when I started, So initially what happened was they said that, look, we don't involve volunteers with, talking to victims, and you need a lot of like, experience, expertise, certain training. There's so many things, right? So they said you can help us in the back end stuff. Like they need a lot of things, in the team, like say to take care. So I did that for a while, but again, see, I was like, no, I want to do, really something. And then I spoke to them. They kind of got convinced that I think I should, they felt that, okay, I think she's somebody who will probably be able to do it. So then I underwent training. After that, yes, that's when I started, interacting. So for me, actually, that experience was a big eye-opener. Because, see, when you hear about trafficking externally, like as a person who is not really involved at all there, say in news or like you said, movies, okay, you think of it as a crime.
Right.
But the horrific reality of it hits you when you're really in there, And for me, I was just talking to the rescued victims. But even then, so I was not even with them when they were undergoing a lot of horrors. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, nobody can even, you cannot even probably even imagine 5% of that horror. It's impossible for a person to really, you might say, oh, I understand. No, you cannot. So that, I think, was one of the biggest thing for me in that experience, that I was privy to, oh my God, like this is horrible. There were cases where families had sold, in some cases the rescued victims didn't want to go back to the family because they were like, becha to unhone nahi tha. So then they stay at that rehabilitation center and build a different life for themselves. And I was like, just imagine how sad it is that it's your own blood that actually made you go through some of the biggest horrors of your life. So yes, that's when I think that experience actually made me, if I say so myself, a lot more sensible as a person, because you realize, what this world is, what life is about, and what is truly important in life. Uske baad hai na, so many things don't matter. Like, even today, I am least bothered about even smallest of things. And I'm not saying that the people who bother, there's anything wrong with it. It's just, I think the
is that you have seen
I've
those
become,
things
like that as a person.
affect.
Even, like, if somebody says that, Arey, she didn't call you at some birthday, and I'm like, doesn't matter, yeah. Like, I think I've somewhere detached myself from all this, because I've seen, like I said, somewhat, the worst things they go through. They go through a lot of torture.
How does it happen? How does it work in a country like this? When, we talk about even back then, our administrative officers and the bureaucrat officers, we are good, right? As a country, we were good for that way. But then I want to understand, how does that happen even after having a country with like the biggest military, one of the biggest military power?
So the problem is not, see again, the problem is not having, say, resources and stuff. It is, so many times powerful people are hand in glove with this. This human trafficking nexus, it's not being run standalone by, say, a brothel or, there are really powerful, and that is another thing I realized, that, oh, okay, which is why, today you ask me, I don't hero worship any politician. None. People have this, they'll either be, like, oh, are you this wing, that wing? Of course, I have my own, personal whatever thought process about, what my ideology is. But what I mean to say is, I don't hold anyone like in that high regard, because that experience, I realized that it doesn't matter what party somebody is from and all, anyone is capable of the worst of crimes. Because I've, of course, now here I really can't take names and I can't, really go into details. In fact, there was a time when we were asked to remove the references of, the NGO and all from my profile, because they were targeting, the rehabilitation center actually was demolished. Because the powerful people will not want you to rescue and sort of work with the police and kind of, because obviously they are involved. So from politicians to police also. There are people involved, and I think that is the biggest problem, that you cannot break that beyond a point. How will you break this nexus? Now there are some people doing brilliant work here, like the Sunita Krishnan, founder of Prajwala, and there are many others who have been. In fact, even in law front, I think they've been working a lot for years to get some changes. So from what I know now, things are definitely better. But it is still happening, like for people who think that this is.
I'll share an incident. I think it happened like 3 to 4 days back. There was this party going on, some rally going on in Paris. It used to be a festival. It is supposed to be a festival. there were more than 150 plus women who were stabbed with this rape drugs.
Oh yeah,
So
I read
basically-
about
yeah.
it actually just on the way when I
Yeah,
was
so
coming
so
here.
they use that drug so that they get unconscious and
Anything,
they
yeah.
traffic them or they rape
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
You know,
of course.
these kind of
There are
crimes are
many-
happening. I'm like, it is
Right.
Paris. You're talking about France, which is touted to be one of the most powerful nations, developed nations, so to say, when compared to India. These are the things that's happening.
No, it's happening
and that's
everywhere.
happening
Trafficking
openly.
in US, everywhere it's
Yeah.
happening, and nobody. And you know, the thing is, you never know when suddenly, and that's the reason why, you know, I'm very particular about things like, you know, when there are kids, not just my own daughter, like if I'm with kids and all, they should always be in my, you know, purview, and even who will walk ahead, who will walk behind. And someone may feel that I'm being a little extra cautious, but I come from, you know, that place
Right.
of,
Of course,
you know,
of course.
working with these people, and I've heard how, you know, it happened in their case, like some of them were really caught off guard, obviously, you know, like sudden. There was one girl who said that she was, like, you know, walking back from a vegetable market, and it took a second and nobody could then find out anything where she was gone. So that's the thing. And you know, this also brings me to another point I want to bring up, which is not directly related to trafficking, but it's very closely linked, and that is you know, the way a lot of people justify brothels in our country, because they feel that it is somebody's personal choice. Let me tell you, brothels are not personal choices,
Right.
because most of the people there are trafficked. And I know this because, you know, I've worked there. So I've seen this come up often, that, you know, it should be legal because, you know, it's fine, you know, two adults. But that's not how it's working. No, they are not making an empowered choice. See, an individual prostitution is very different. But when you're talking about, you know, institutionalized
organized
prostitution
crimes.
through brothels and all, it's very different. So I think this awareness is only not there in people so much,
Right.
you know, to make statements like these. Are you really aware of, you know, say statistics, or, you know, what is currently happening in this space? So I would say please read up more. In fact, a couple of my teen students did small projects in this, and I was really proud of them, because I said so many even adults probably don't spend that time to learn, you know, about what it is, and, you know, what happens, and how their lives can be made better after being rescued and all of that. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I think that's one
What's
area.
what's your take on the legalization of sex work in India?
So, like I mentioned, I feel sex work definitely, you know, that's another one of my biggest pet peeves. I've written even a blog post on this, that whenever somebody has to put a woman down on social media, they'll say prostitute, as if prostitute is something to be insulted. You know, if I forget this aspect of trafficking for a moment, a sex worker is a very dignified person. She's just doing her work, and I hate it when, you know, people use that as a slur, right? They're using that as a term to put someone down, that you know, you're a prostitute, why? So what's wrong? I mean, you know, that shows that the filth is in your mind. It's nothing to do with what she's doing. And I always tell people that, you know, you have so much problem with women being a prostitute. Who is she doing this for? Who are going to her? Men are going to her, right? And so many men have a problem with, you know, women who are. So please go and tell your clan not to go there. You know, why are they creating the demand? So for me, you know, this whole mindset thing, I think, is a big issue, firstly. So I think definitely they deserve, I think, apart from dignity, I think a lot of there are in fact some legal, you know, also clauses when it comes to their safety, and you know, so that they can have a decent life, right? Like, so that is there. But I think I
Do you
think
in the
there's
core it's their self-choice at the core of it?
you know, that is a very debatable
I'm
thing.
caught up with this, you know, every time whenever this subject comes in.
See, I am, if you talk of my personal opinion, I am definitely not for it. I respect them, but I know why that's happening. So the thing is, what I mean to say is, I would never blame the women for it. I don't want that to be propagated, but it's not because I have anything against the women doing it. It's
Right.
the system,
Right.
which is a problem, which has pushed them into it. Or maybe, you know, which has not left them with any other choice or whatever, you know. So I will definitely not hold them accountable for it. But, you know, having said that, see, we don't need to look at it as something like, you know, oh, it's something disrespectful. That's my issue. So when I say that, I feel we need to tackle this, and probably, you know, I don't think this is something that should be there. It's not because I feel it's disrespectful in that sense. I feel it's because if it's not an empowered choice, basically, then yeah, I mean, she's forced into it and she shouldn't be forced into it. So my point comes from there. Also, I feel, yes, brothels, so I've been very vocal about the fact that, especially in a country like India, where we know it's happening on a forced way, and it's not just about forced, they are really tortured there. I've heard of those torture stories, and you can't even listen to it, trust me, and they've been through it. So that's another issue as well. So definitely brothels, but that's the thing, na? They're still running, and again there's a lot of hand in glove thing there. So yeah, those issues are there. But at the core, at the idea, I think if a woman really has a choice, she will not go for it. I feel, yeah.
After listening to now, I connect the dots and know that why you are so much ambitious when it comes to upliftment of women and child in general. But having said that, Anupama, we have had this wonderful conversation. But before we end this, I want to understand, how is it your life going to be from here on? Like, what are your plans? Like, what are your personal and professional accomplishments that you would want to do before, let's say, you don't have the energy to?
I hope that never happens. I'm very inspired by Shah Rukh Khan. I love his energy even at this age. So I hope I can, have that energy. So I am no more struck, like, I kind of like no more go that celebrity thing. But yes, Shah Rukh Khan is one person that if I ever meet him, I'll definitely go.
I am the biggest fan.
Yeah, same. Oh wow, so good to know another SRK enthusiast. So yeah, he in fact I think yesterday completed 33 years in the industry.
Right, in the industry.
And I just made a post also on Instagram. Not post, like I shared it in Instagram.
I'll just say, since you mentioned him, there was this interview of his where he mentioned that even when I'm 90 or I'm 100, I'd still be on the bed and I'll still act. Right. And
so I have that same, thought for myself. In fact, the reason I love Shah Rukh is more than the fact that he's an actor and his movies, of course, we've grown up watching and, love them. But today, as a 42-year-old mother, you change a lot, right? So I'm no more like, oh wow, Shah Rukh's romantic movies, it doesn't matter anymore. What I really like now is actually his thought process. I think I've tried to adapt so much of that into my own journey. His wonderful attitude towards learning, the hunger with which he goes, after every day. I'll try to, do that as well. So for me, I think I hope, like I said, there's never a time when I don't have the energy anymore. But, so I'm not a person who thinks very far ahead. I'm not, basically I also again wrote a blog post on this, that why I feel HR should stop asking, where do you see yourself 10 years from now? I think that question is immaterial, yeah. I mean, who knows? COVID came, did anybody know? So I think what matters is the now for me, that at this point, what I see things like, or what I feel that, okay, maybe this is what I want to do next, or want to focus on. I am not somebody who thinks like, you'll never find me saying things like 10 years later I want Beyond the Box to be the number one, company in India. No, I'm not that kind of person. For me, I'm a very what next person, and I think that has truly helped me, sort of keep at my journey with a very focused mind. That, yeah, of course we all have, these dreams and visions, but what I want in the near future, professionally, definitely I want to keep growing whatever work I'm doing. One thing I really want, to do, which I've been thinking for a long time now, is I want to revive Vicharsthal, which was actually my own. It wasn't a podcast exactly. It used to be a Facebook Live during COVID, which really worked well. Where I would have these theme-based seasons. So I did 3 seasons of Vicharsthal, and then somehow I got busy with other things. So I really want to sort of get that going again. Also, I'm working on some books, and I really hope to complete some of them at least by next year, because I'm a writer at core, and this is something that I really hope I can get out into the world. It's a little difficult to focus on books when you're into so many things. Personally, I just want to keep becoming a better person. I've never really had any other, like I said, I'm a very happy person, happy with, my family, friends, work. But I always have this thing that, I need to keep getting better as a person. And I really want to, sort of feel that, yeah, I've added some value to myself and my life. So that is something I hope to keep. And I'll just maybe leave you with one of my quotes. It's my quote. So generally people quote great people. I am also great. I think you need to believe you're great to truly be great. So yes, normally people come and keep asking me that what is the secret of success, things like that. And so my quote is the secret to success is not in wasting the time to find the secret to success, but focusing on the work to be done instead with honesty and hard work. There is literally no replacement to that. So yeah.
Right. It was great having you, Anupama, and I truly love this conversation. And
same here.
I'm sure that there are lots of questions that I did not ask and we did not speak about.
Obviously
There are lots many things, and I honestly believe there's a part 2 for this. Maybe a couple of months later, I'll definitely call you again. I definitely want you, and I want to learn more from you.
Of course,
as I mentioned, this was for me a masterclass for whatever good reasons by Anupama Dalmia. This was for me.
I hope you got to learn something.
Yeah, lots. Believe me, more than you can think of. But having said that, we'll wrap up. So what I do is basically we have a philanthropic wing in our podcast. So back in the day when I started podcasts, I always thought about the amazing podcast. What value can I bring? Like what is something that I can do different, right? And then I got this idea of philanthropy because I'm very much inclined towards philanthropy, and I thought, how about let's not restrict our podcast to the studio room. How about we go out as well and do certain impactful things for the society? It can be as simple as feeding underprivileged children, or inspiring some kids going out into a school. There are lots of other things that I thought of doing. And what I do is with every episode, whenever it comes to an end, I talk to my guests and I basically ask them to pick a number between 1 to 4. So this is a placard, and I basically have written a couple of dares. So I call it philanthropic dare. You have to choose a number. Whichever number you choose, you will have to perform that with me. So the team would be there and we'd go out, and then we make sure that it is also recorded so that people out there can get inspired by our little work that we are trying to do, and they also do some or whatever manner they can.
Wow, I love this idea.
Right. So if you can pick up between 1 to 4, any number.
Okay, I think I'll go with 3. It's somehow my lucky number, so that's why.
All right. It says donate fruit to underprivileged children.
All right.
Right.
And there's so many in need.
Right. Yeah, so the next time we meet,
100%. Let's plan this.
That. You let me know whenever you're free, available. You plan it out. We'll come with the team. You'll have to perform the dare, and I hope after seeing you, people get inspired and they also do their small bit.
I think this is probably one of the most noble things. Actually, I think we picked to give food to those who need. So looking forward to doing that and sharing it on your platform.
Perfect. And it was great.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.